Hello, Shalom. Welcome to day 126 of the Daily Bread. We'll be reading Numbers chapter 21, 2 Kings chapter 11, Psalms 123, Proverbs 6, and from the book of Acts chapter 23. We'll be in the Scriptures 2009 version. Numbers chapter 21 on page 164. And the sovereign of Adred, the Canaanite, who dwelt in the south, heard that Israel was coming on the way to Athram, and he fought against Israel, and took some of them captive. Then Israel made a vow to Yahweh, and said, If you deliver this people into my hand indeed, then I shall put their cities under the ban. Which means, and Yahweh listened to the voice of Israel, and gave up the Canaanites, and they put them and their cities under the ban, so that the name of that place was called Haram. And they departed from Mount Hor, Hor, by the way of the Sea of Reeds, to go around the land of Edom. But that being of the people grew impatient because of the way. And the people spoke against Elohim and against Moshe again. Why have you brought us up out of Mizraim to die in the wilderness? For there is no food and no water, and our being loathes this light bread, the manna. And Yahweh sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and many of the people of Israel died. Then the people came to Moshe and said, We have sinned, for we have spoken against Yahweh and against you. Pray to Yahweh to take away the serpents from us. So Moshe prayed on the behalf of the people. That's what he's done. He's been their advocate. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Make a fiery serpent and set it on a pole. And it shall be that everyone who is bitten, when he looks on it, shall live. So Moshe made a bronze serpent and put it on a pole. And it came to be, if a serpent had bitten anyone, then he looked at the bronze serpent and lived. And the children of Israel set out and camped in Obath. And they departed from Obath and camped at Ihabron in the wilderness, which was east of Moab, towards sunrise. For they set out and camped at the Wadi Zered. And from there they set out and camped on the other side of Aran, which is in the wilderness that extends from the border of the Amorites. For the Amoron is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. Therefore it is said in the book of battles of Yahweh, Wahib in Supla, the Wadi Aran, and the slope of the Wadi that turns aside to the dwelling of Aaron, and lies on the border of Moab. And from there on to Bur, which is the well where Yahweh said to Moshe, Gather the people, and let me give them water. Israel then sang this song, Spring up, O well, sing to it. As a well the leaders sank, which the nobles of the people dug with their staves, by the word of the inscriber. Then from the wilderness of Mahan, and from Mahan to Nathan, from the Nathan to Bathom, and from Bathom in the valley that is in the country of Moab, to the top of Pisgah, which looks down on the wasteland. And Israel sent messengers to Sihon, sovereign of Amorites, saying, Let me pass through your land. We shall not turn off into fields or vineyards. We shall not drink water from wells, but go by the sovereign's highway until we have passed over your border. But Sihon would not allow Israel to pass through this border. So Sihon gathered all his people together and went out against Israel in the wilderness, and he came to Yahatz and fought against Israel. And Israel struck him with the edge of the sword and took possession of his land from the Amram and to the Jacob, as far as the children of Ammon, for the border of the children of Ammon was strong. And Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt in the cities of the Amorites, in Heshbon, and in all the villages. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the sovereign of the Amorites, who fought against the former sovereign of Moab, and had taken all his land from his hand as far as Aram. This is why they chose to speak in Proverbs. That is why those who speak in Proverbs say, "Come to Heshbon, let the city of Sihon be built and established." For fire went out from Heshbon, a flame from the city of Sihon. It consumed Arn of Moabs, the masters of heights of Aram. Woe to you, Moab! You have perished. O people of Chemish, he has given his sons as fugitives and his daughters into captivity. To Sihon, the sovereign of the Amorites. Then we shot them. Heshbon was perished as far as Dibon, and we laid waste as far as Naharam, which reaches to Neheb. So Israel dwelt in the land of the Amorites. And Moshe went to spy out Yazir, and they took its villages and drove out the Amorites who were there, and turned and went up and by the way to Bashan. And Og, sovereign of Bashan, went out against them, he and all his people, to battle Edrei. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Do not fear him, for I have given him into your hand, with all his people and his land. And you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon." And they struck him and his sons and all his people, until no remnant was left to him, and they took possession of his land. And of Numbers chapter 21. 2 Kings chapter 11 on page 394. And Athaliah was the mother of Azziah. When she saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the offspring of the realm. But Yeshua, the daughter of sovereign of Joram, sister of Azziah, took Yoshan, son of Azziah, and stole him away from the sons of the sovereign, sons who were put to death. So they concealed him and his nurse in the bedroom of Athaliah, and he was not put to death. And he remained with her in hiding in the house of Yahweh for 6 years, while Athaliah was reigning over the land. And in the 7th year, Jehonah sent and brought the commanders of hundreds with the Karites and the runners, and brought them into the house of Yahweh to him. And he made a covenant with them, and took an oath from them in the house of Yahweh, and showed them the son of the sovereign. He commanded them, saying, "This is what you are to do. 1/3 of you who come in on the Shabbat to be on guard in the sovereign's house, 1/3 at the gate of Shur, and 1/3 at the gate behind the runners. And you shall be on guard in the house, lest it be broken down. And the 2 detachments of you who are going out on the Shabbat shall be on guard in the house of Yahweh for the sovereign. And you shall surround the sovereign on all sides, every man with his weapon in his hand. And whoever comes within the ranks, let him be put to death, and be with the sovereign as he goes out and as he comes in. So the commanders of the hundreds did according to all that Johanna the priest commanded, and each one of them took his men who were going in on the Sabbath, with those who were going out on the Sabbath, and came to Johanna the priest. And the priest gave the commanders of hundreds the spears and shields which had belonged to sovereign David, that were in the house of Yahweh. And the runners stood, every man with his weapon in his hand, all around the sovereign, from the right side of the house to the left side of the house, by the slaughter place and the house. And he brought out the son of the sovereign and put him on the diadem and the witness. And they set him up to reign and anointed him. And they clapped their hands and said, "Let the sovereign live." And Athaliah heard the noise of the runners, the people, and she came to the people into the house of Yahweh, and looked and saw the sovereign standing by a column according to the ruling. And the chief and the trumpeters were beside the sovereign, and all the people of the land rejoicing and blowing trumpets. And Athaliah tore her garments and cried out, "Treason, treason!" And Johanna the priest commanded the commanders of the hundreds, the officers of the army, and said to them, "Take her outside the ranks, and slay with the sword whomever follows her." For the priests had said, "Do not let her be killed in the house of Yahweh." So they took hold of her, and she went by the way of horses' entrance to the sovereign's house, and was put to death there. And Jehoiada made a covenant between Yahweh and the sovereign and the people, and to be the people of Yahweh. Also between the sovereign and the people. And all the people of the land went to the house of Baal and broke it down. They completely broke up the slaughter place and images, and killed Mahatan, the priest of Baal, before the slaughter places, and the priests anointed inspectors over the house of Yah. And took the commanders of hundreds and the Kerites and the runners and all the people of the land, and they brought the sovereign down from the house of Yahweh, and went by way of the gate of the runners to the sovereign's house. And he sat on the throne of the sovereigns, and all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city had rest, for they had slain Athaliah with the sword in the sovereign's house. Joash was 7 years old when he began to reign. Really understanding why these two chapters are called Kings, because they go through a lot of them there. So, Psalms 123 on page 720. I shall lift up my eyes unto you who dwell in the heavens. See as the eyes of servants are toward the hand of their masters, as the eyes of the female servant are toward the hand of her mistress. So are our eyes toward Yahweh our Elohim, until he shows favor to us. Show favor to us, O Yahweh, show favor to us. For we are exceedingly filled with mockery. Our being is exceedingly filled with the scoffing of those who are at ease, with the mockery of the proud. On to Proverbs 6. On page 734. My son, if you have become a guarantor for your friend, have shaken hands in a pledge for a stranger, have been snared by the words of your own mouth, have been caught by the words of your own mouth, do this at once, my son, and deliver yourself, for you have come into the hand of your friend. Go, humble yourself, and urge your friend. Give no sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. Deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hunter's hand, and the birds from the hand of the trapper. Go to the ant, you lazy one. See her ways and be wise, which, having no commander, overseer, or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer, gathers her food in the harvest. How long would you lie down, O lazy one? When do you arise from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of hands to lie down? And your poverty shall come like a prowler, and your need as an armed man. A man of Belial, a wicked man, walks with a perverse mouth, winks with his eyes, shuffles with his feet, points with his fingers. Perverseness is in his heart, plotting evil at all times. He sends out strife. Therefore his calamity comes suddenly. Instantly he is broken, and there is no healing. These 6 matters Yahweh hates, and 7 are abomination to him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands shedding innocent blood. A heart devising wicked schemes, feet quick to run to evil, a false witness breathing out lies, and one who causes strife among brothers. My son, watch over your father's command, and do not forsake the Torah of your mother. Bind them on your heart always. Tie them around your neck. When you are walking about, it leads you. When you lie down, it guards you. And when you have woken up, it talks to you. For the command is a lamp, and the Torah is a light, and reproof of discipline, a way of life, to guard you against an evil woman, from the flattering tongue of a strange woman. Do not desire her prettiness in your heart, neither let her captivate you with her eyelids. For because of a whore one is brought to a crust of bread, an adulteress hunts a precious life. Would a man take fire to his bosom, and his garments not be burned? Would a man walk on hot coals, and his feet not be scorched? So is he who goes into his neighbor's wife. None who touches her goes unpunished. They do not despise a thief, if he steals to satisfy his appetite when he is starving. Yet if he is caught, he repays 7-fold. He gives all the wealth of his house. He who commits adultery with a woman lacks heart. He who does it destroys his own life. He finds smiting and shame, and his reproach is not wiped away. For jealousy enrages a man, and he does not spare in the day of vengeance. He does not regard any ransom, nor accept your bribe, however great. Acts chapter 23 on page 1081. And Shaul, looking intently at the council, said, Men, brothers, I have lived in all good consciousness before Elohim until this day. And the high priest Hananiah commanded those who stood by him to strike him in the mouth. Then Shaul said to him, Elohim is going to strike you. Whitewashed wall. And do you sit judging me according to the Torah? And do you command me to be struck contrary to the Torah? And those who stood by said, Do you revile the high priest of the Elohim? And Shaul said, I do not know, brothers, that he was the high priest, for it has been written. I did not know, brothers, that he was the high priest, for has it been written, You shall speak evil of the ruler of your people. Now Shaul, perceiving, let me repeat verse 5 again. And Shaul said, I did not know, brothers, that he was the high priest, for it has been written, You shall not speak evil of the ruler of your people. Exodus 22, verse 28. And Shaul, perceiving that one part were Sadducees and the other Pharisees, cried out in the council, Men, brothers, I am a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee. I am being judged concerning the expectation and resurrection of the dead. And when he had said this, there came a dissension between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the crowd was divided. For the Sadducees say there is no resurrection, nor messenger, nor spirit, but the Pharisees confess both. And there was a great uproar, and certain of the scribes of the party of the Pharisees were earnestly contending, saying, We find no evil in this man. And if a spirit or a messenger has spoken to him, let us not fight against Elohim. And a great dissension having come, the commander, fearing lest Shaul would be pulled to pieces by them, commanded the body of the soldiers to go down and seize him from their midst and bring him into the barracks. And on the following night the master stood by him and said, Take courage, Shaul, for as you have witnessed for me in Jerusalem, so you have bear witness at Rome too. And when it came day, some of the Judeans made a conspiracy and bound themselves under an oath, saying that they would neither eat nor drink until they had killed Shaul. And those making this conspiracy were more than 40, who having come to the chief priests and elders said, We have bound ourselves under a great oath not to eat at all until we have killed Shaul. Now then, with the council, inform the commander to have him brought down to you tomorrow, as a tenant, to examine him more exactly all about him. And we are ready to kill him before he comes near. And when Shaul's sister, her sister's son, heard of their ambush, he went and entered into the barracks and reported to Shaul. And Shaul, having called one of the captains to him, said, Take this young man to the commander, for he has something to report to him. He indeed took him and led him to the commander and said, The prisoner Shaul called me to him and asked me to bring this young man to you, having something to say to you. And commander, having taken him by the hand, went aside by themselves and asked, What is it that you have to report to me? And he said, The Judeans have agreed to ask you to bring Shaul down to the council tomorrow, as intending to inquire more exactly about him. Therefore do not let them persuade you, for more than 40 of them lie in wait for him, men who have bound themselves by an oath neither to eat nor to drink until they have killed him. And now they are ready, waiting for the promise from you. Then the commander dismissed the young man, having commanded him, Inform no one that you reported this to me. And having called near a certain 2 captains, he said, Get 200 soldiers ready to go to Caesarea, and 70 horsemen and 200 spearmen after the 3rd hour of the night. And provide beasts on which to place Shaul, and bring him safely to Felix the governor. Having written a letter in this form, Claudius Lycia, to the most excellent governor Felix, greetings. This man, having been seized by the Judeans, and being about to be killed by them, I rescued, having come with the body of soldiers, having learned that he was a Roman, and desiring to know the reason they accused him. I brought him before their council. I found out that he was accused concerning questions of their Torah, but there was no charges against him deserving death or chains. And when I was informed that there was to be a plot against the man by the Judeans, I sent him immediately to you, having also commanded his accusers to state before you the charges against him. Be strong. So the soldiers, as they were commanded, took Shaul and brought him by night to Athretis. And on the next day they left the horsemen to go back with him and return to the barracks, who, having come to Caesarea and delivered the letter to the governor, they also presented Shaul to him. And the governor, having read it, and having asked of what province he was, and he informed that he was from Cacalia, and said, I swear I shall hear you when your accusers arrive also. And he commanded him to be kept in Herod's palace. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible. Talk to the Father.